In my journey through trauma and becoming more creative, accessing my inner child, for example, I found some of the work by Maurice Nicole especially helpful. So let me share some of that with you. I'm Roach, Mark Roach. I'm here to share a unique perspective with you, help you examine life maybe from that different perspective, deepen and hopefully benefit you. From the psychological commentaries on the teachings of Gurdjieff and Ouspensky, Volume 1, there's an episode where Maurice spoke about self-remembering July 26, 1943. Let me quote from this. "Tonight, we will speak of self-remembering. It's necessary to remember oneself every day, at least once. Many different descriptions have been given in the literature of the past, and I will quote one of those. Some 3 centuries ago, a disciple asks his master how he can come to the supersensual life and hear God speak. The master replies, 'When thou canst throw thyself into that, where no creature dwelleth, though it be but for a moment, then thou hearest what God speaketh.' The disciple asked him if the place where no creature or no nothing created dwells is near or far away. The master says, 'Is it in thee?' And he adds that this is to be reached by ceasing, even for a moment, from all of one's thinking and willing. When will thou standest still from self-thinking and self-willing and canst stop the wheel of the imagination and the senses?" In another place he says that this act must be done once a day and at least and only for a short time. It must certainly not be attempted too often. He is really describing what in this work is called self-remembering. It's not often difficult to hear the work speaking to us. As a rule, we are immersed in life and self-interest of various kinds and cannot hear the work. In the example just given to the disciple, ask how he can come to this supersensual state and hear God speak. This means to state that he is above the life of the senses. Have you ever really thought, what is the life of the senses? Is all your daily worries, all your cares, your daily contacts, all you see and hear, etc., through the senses? You see, this is not enough. It's not enough food, or your pots and pans are wearing out, or you miss the bus, and so on. This is the life of the senses. You see war, you see money, you see the table is broken, you see a letter with bad news, you see disease, you see an earthquake, you see your own face, and so on. All this is sensual. That is life transmitted to us by the senses. How many of us are upset because of the electric light failing, or because of another man or woman, or because we cannot buy what we want, and so on. This is all sensual. It is the sensual life. It is life as you experience it via your 5 senses. So you might ask, is there any other kind of life apart from my business, my job, my daily cares, my house, my family, my sick child, my this, my that, and so on? In other words, you're asking, is there any other life than the sensual life? Esotericism speaks of another life. The work speaks of it. You know how often the work says you must transform incoming impressions, yet glued to that sensory reality that masters us every moment and makes us slaves, we cannot easily see beyond the particular life event that is exerting its influence on us at the moment. as, for instance, when we have lost our ticket or our bag, or someone has been rude to us, when we are in particular outer event, everything seems to be that event, does it not? Then it passes, and we wonder what happened. You remember what was once said, that life is a series of events, or if you prefer, that passing time, hour by hour, day by day, is composed of a definite structure of events that crowd in all the time on different scales. That is, as personal events, family events, local events, and national events, world events, all on different scales. These are due to 48 orders of laws that we are under. Now, you can never be without some event that is trying to take force from you. Ill news is an event, for instance. Certainly war is an event, but they are not on the same scale, of course. There is a common phrase that life is one thing after another. Is it necessarily so, since we are under definite laws? We are not free. This takes us probably all our life to grasp, and then we cannot grasp. If you notice then that we cannot grasp, and if you notice that the kind of being that you have, if you notice the kind of being you have, then you will get to know that it weaves a thread continuing the same series of events. Our level of being attracts our life. That is, the events belong to it. You may feel how bad it is that these things always happen to you, yes, but what has the work to say? Have you ever made the connection? Have you ever observed your life and its events from the angle of what the work teaches about being? There are times when self-observation is no good. Then you can say, I wish to remember myself. You will find that the work will help you. Recently, Mr. Ospensky suggested that people should remember themselves at certain definite times as an exercise. The work emphasizes the importance of self-remembering from the start. Very often we forget to remember ourselves. We wonder what to do, but forget to remember ourselves. Perhaps we think of it, but we do not try to do it. We are always thinking, but not doing the work. When we make no attempt to self-remember, our inner continuity with the work is broken. The work moves away from us and we pass into life. When this happens, it is necessary to self-remember. This opens us up again to the influences of the work. This is quite a definite experience, but as I said, we usually forget to self-remember and try instead to do something ourselves. To remember oneself is a surrender of oneself. One realizes one's helplessness. It is impossible to self-remember if one does not realize and understand that much better influences can reach us. In one book written by someone 8 centuries ago, by someone that belonged to the Sufi school, the writer compared self-remembering with coming to the surface of the sea and drawing it in the air. This air, he said, is miraculous and it will last a whole day, even when one is at the bottom of the ocean. When one is very much identified with life, it is difficult to self-remember. It is also difficult when one has a wrong inner attitude to the work. Again, it is difficult to understand anything about self-remembering when one is identified with oneself. When you make a practice of self-remembering every day, you begin to be aware of a continuity running through your life. On the other hand, you become aware when this continuity is lost. When you feel this continuity and the loss of it, you have a point in the work, in the emotional center. This is like inner taste and is the starting of real work conscience. I'm Roach, Mark Roach, wishing you all the best.